You have to know brachas. You have to know what the brachas of different foods are. It's so important. Brachas are, the Gemara says that brachas, the Gemara is asking, what is the source of brachas? It goes looking for different verses of how we know they need to make a before bracha and after bracha. And the Gemara says, and Tosfos points out, what do you mean? It's logical. You don't even need a scriptural source to make a bracha. Because what kind of, excuse my French, ingrate takes food from the Lord and doesn't make a bracha on it first?
It's like stealing.
It's like stealing. You need to prove that to somebody, that you need to ask for permission from something, for something that doesn't belong to you. It's like pre-Torah. The Torah is talking to human beings. A person who's not even a human being, the Torah is not here to address that. The Torah is, you're a human being. Oh, a human being would understand. Just look at the way the Torah thinks. The Torah understands that a human being appreciates that things are not just mine, they came from somewhere, they came from God, and it's logical to say, before I just take something and put it into my body, thank you, Hashem. Thank you for giving this to me. It's like any time that somebody gives you something, if you don't say thank you, anybody ever had that feeling of like you gave somebody something, they didn't say thank you, and it's like very weird? It's probably a better word than that. Give me a good word. The feeling of somebody not appreciating something that you did.
Disappointing.
Disappointing, like disrespectful. Unfulfilled, like it's like off. It's like outside of reality. That there's some disconnect happening here. Like okay, sometimes you just got to deal with it and just move on. But I feel bad for that person. That they're so disconnected with the reality that somebody does something for you, to not be able to say, wow, thank you. That's why Yehudi, a Jew, comes from the same root as Hod, to acknowledge, to say thank you. The essence of who we are is that we have appreciation. We could say thank you. That's really the essence of the Jew, is to be able to acknowledge something bigger than me, something outside of me. So the world is telling you just live within your Dalet Amos, live within your sphere. And we're telling the world, see big, see outside of yourself. Appreciate all the things that people are doing for you, helping you. Which is a major, major prerequisite for marriage. Because marriage is all about, I appreciate, I can see outside of myself. Whereas sadly, much of the world is pushed towards what's called narcissism, which means just total self-involvement, which is the opposite of what it means to be a Jew. What it means to be a Yid is to see outside of oneself, see and appreciate everything, yeah.
It's like, for example, this, like I have my water here. If I don't do the bracha, it's like I saying, I have the merits of finding the water and get it for me, right? It's like a more ego thing.
Yeah, you thought that just, came from you, like you did everything?
I went to the supermarket,
Very good.
I bought the food.
So you'll say, but didn't I, Rabbi? Well, who gave you energy to move? Who put all the right people in the right place? Who gave you your job? Who gave you your brain to think? It's all from Hashem. Yeah, but I earn the money. Yeah, so who moves your feet in the morning to get to work? Yeah, who created the food in the first place? So it's just a lack of reality.
It's a chain that always end up in Hashem.
That's why brachas, learning brachas, it says brachas is connected to emunah. The more that you learn about brachas, the more that you start having a real intimate relationship with God. That's brachas. So we're very, very encouraging people to learn brachas, get involved in brachas. So
how like
brachas. I already made a bracha.
What's like the juice and like the vegetables and what's in there, what's not in there? Like how scrutinizing is it? Like is Gizzy really just like oh here he goes. He's going for the vegetables.
Get him!
That's not it. It should have been this.
He made that. Hey, should have. Don't get him. So
damned.
You think that's what God's all about?
Missed the connection. Could have connected way better there, Chief. You tried. I saw you try. It was so close, but no.
So it's humorous.
But it's probably when you do it right, it's like, yes!
So it's humorous. And there is one point, and Dennis, I'm sure you agree with this. We have to be careful with putting too much of human characteristic and emotion onto God. You know, it's like I'm thinking about like this like coach that I had like in 7th grade basketball, and he's like looking at me if I'm going to make the layup. You messed it up. You messed it up. It's like, wait for it. He's going to go. So, nice layup. Yeah, that was it. So I'm putting these things on God. So God in his essence has none of this, obviously. God relates to us. He shows us certain traits. So there is some quality of God having, let's say, kindness or compassion, or showing sternness, even disappointment in us. The idea that God's never going to be hurt, so to speak, in his essence. He's infinite. You can't put anything finite on the infinite. And that being said, God did give us human reference points to understand him. Never his essence, but the way that he relates to us. So, even though, think about your wife, and she makes you this beautiful meal, and she puts a lot of love and care into it. And really, like, and was working the whole day, and was like shopping the week before to get all the things that you like. And let's make it even more dramatic. It's your anniversary, and she likes candles. And it's like really everything is set up just right. And she sends you texts like, I can't wait to see you, make sure, you told me you're going to leave work a little bit early today, come home early, so we can have a nice evening together. And it's like 6 o'clock, and everything's ready, and that's when he said he was going to be home, and the candles are already they're lit, and they're starting to burn a little bit, and it's 6:10, and no word. 6:15, 6:30, and he gets this text. She sees she sent 50 texts. You okay? Everything fine? And then he gets this text. Finally, he sends something back oh, that was tonight. Oh, I'm just at the game. It just went out. We're just catching the game. I think I mentioned the games also tonight. Did I tell you that? It was the game. It's like a voice note. Oh, the game. They're trying to say the game. I mentioned that, right? The game. And so I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm on my way home. And whatever, 7:15. The Uber didn't come, and I'm on my way. 8 o'clock. He comes in. The candles are at the end. She's obviously a bit sad and disappointed. And he's like, "What's up with you?" And he just sits down and just eats the meal, and then just heads to his study to watch the rest of the game. So, what do you think his wife feels?
Unappreciated.
There was this amazing opportunity that there was somebody who gave so much to somebody that she loves. And there's a feeling of even if we could get past the her being hurt part, which obviously for human terms, she's going to be hurt. But let's go beyond that, because God doesn't get hurt. But let's go to the beyond that of, look what this night could have been. Look how special this relationship could have been. Look what was in store here. If I had a husband who could appreciate all the work that I put into this, and how much I love him, how much I'm trying to give to him, that he missed that. He missed the opportunity for something beautiful. So you know what Hashem is? He's laying the table for us every single day. You're alive. Your heart is beating. He gives you delicious green juices or whatever else you like. Wagyu steak, whatever you're into. He gives you everything. So we're not going to make Hashem a sad wife, because you can't put any anthropomorphic image on God. But there's a feeling of something of, look at the opportunity that was lost. The person he's going his merry way, chugging this, guzzling that. Yeah, get me some Kentucky Fried, good stuff, and just eating it all up. And he's just going about life, never stopping and thinking I have this lover madly in love with me. And you know what? in addressing your question specifically, so let's say he's trying, and he made the wrong bracha. So he's trying, there's a big thing. But if he could have known better, it's not so simple. Like, why was he, you don't take it seriously? Let's say somebody's saying thank you. He's saying thank you. But he's like got something off. I'll give one example and then I'll give a second example. The first example he says, he's like, you know, sweetie, Rachel, this is like the best, like stuffed chicken you ever made. She's like, it's vegetarian, So you didn't, oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't exactly, I guess you weren't paying attention. You were just down the, hatchet. So that's one level. It's like, okay, maybe he could have known, maybe not. But let's say he says something like, this is going to be intense. It's like, like Rachel, like, this is the best stuffed chicken like you ever made. She's like, my name is Leah. Like, I don't know, what were you doing before you came here? Like, what did you get wrong? Like, you so out of touch with reality that you should have known something better. If you treat brachas as like an opportunity for a certain intimacy in the relationship, brachas become a very serious thing. Like, who am I talking to and what am I talking about? And that's why brachas, it's like, let's stop and let's be present. Oh no, I meant Leah, Rachel, it's like the Bible story, like connects Leah and Rachel, like I meant Rachel. Okay, I guess you saved it, sort of, but like, Toka de Dibur, but it's sort of like, why are you so not with the program? So the idea of brachas, it's like, there's a certain realness of like, I'm here, this is real. Foods there's a gift that Hashem is giving us, and He wants us to be in tune with the gift. Brachas really plug you into reality. If you haven't noticed, one of the first things that happens is people come to yeshiva and they notice everyone is talking before they eat, and then they eat. And then quickly people realize that there's something called making brachas. And you realize you can't go, we basically eat all the time. That's like just the nature, especially in our generation. We're so like, we have this fixation, like we're always eating something. Always. Or drinking. So there's always brachas going on. And brachas plug you in a major way all the time. Like stay in the zone. Stay in the God zone. Brachas are so beautiful. Brachas literally mean what they are. They bring bracha to your life.
What's bracha?
Blessing, happiness, wealth, goodness. The good stuff, the good. Everything that you could want. Brachas bring that to your life. So Hashem says, you appreciate the things that I give you? Oh, I'll give you. Rabbi Nachman had a famous line. So he said, there's sometimes there's people that they go around and you ask them like, how you doing, bro? How you doing, girl? And she's like, like, not so great, whatever, getting by. So Rabbi Nachman says, Hashem sees a situation like that. He says, oh, you don't think it's so good? Like, I could show you what not so good is like. But a person, when you say, like, how you doing? He's like, I'm good. I've got a lot to be thankful for. So Hashem says, you think that's good? I'll show you good now. I'll really show you good. The law of attraction. You can attract more blessing, more abundance, more goodness, more happiness, more love into your life. Brachas. Make brachas. Brachas are so good, they're so powerful. So brachas tap you into reality. And the more detailed it is, and you might think like, oh, like whatever, I'll just like make a shahakal. That's like a classic one. Wait a second. There's people that if they don't know what the bracha is, they actually won't eat it. Meaning everybody, we're all obligated to do that. You don't know what the bracha is? Whoa, let me go find out. What's the bracha on this? Let me be conscious about this. People will sit there and they'll actually have a discussion about the bracha and the food is sitting on the table. And someone's like, why won't you just eat that already? Whoa, bro. I want to make sure I'm plugged into God's will right now. I don't need to eat this right now. I want to have the proper appreciation to God. and let me think about what this is. Learning brachas is great, my friends. You got to learn brachas. Benny, you going to learn brachas with me?
Yes.
Brachas are where it's at.
I was trying to remember the one I know about the fruit there.
Boirei pri adama. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
How much
Boirei.
time to pass until you say it again?
The amount of time that you need in order to say it again is called hesach hadas, or hesach hadas means I change locations. So, for example, when it comes to a shahakol, different foods have different qualifications. If I have a shahakol, like a drink, if I have let's say this juice, and I change locations, for example, I go outside. So my consciousness has now shifted from being I am drinking in this location, to when I go through into a new domain. There's a big discussion, what's called a new domain?
If you can see it from the new place.
So if you can see it, it may in fact still be the same domain. But it's not simple if it's a glass door there, or maybe the part that you can't quite see, like onto the
living room.
That's right. That's right. The living room is all the same house. Let's say it's all the gag echad. It's all in the same house. That's right. So what about the Shiloh though, going into the Spanish-based medrash? So now they made it even more the same yeshiva. But before there was an overhang, it was just a balcony. So can you go and have kiddush in the base medrash? We have kiddush right outside the base medrash, and then you make let's say a shahakol on, let's say it's a sushi kiddush. Yeah, sushi kiddush. That's a discussion what the bracha is, anyways. On let's even have das.
You didn't have that?
Let's say you had das.
If you had that,
But changing location, called hesach hadas, can just the shinui mokum could break das.
but what's that considered? Is it considered pina?
No, you're going outside. Not pina lapina. I could be in a giant ballroom. That's pina lapina. I'm going from one end of the ballroom to the other. You're in the Golden Banquet Hall. You're in the Waldorf Astoria Banquet Hall. You eat something on one corner of the banquet hall, and you go to the other corner of the banquet hall, it's called the same room, same bracha. Unless significant time elapsed, in which case you would have to make a new bracha to begin with, because the food is digested, and now it's gone from your consciousness, needing a new bracha. Let's say a person's having, let's try to use something healthy, smoothie, okay? And he makes a shahakal on his blueberry, chia seed, acai berry, hemp, organic coconut oil, VK, solera, goji berry infused, reishi mushroom, gynostema, chuchu huwasi smoothie.
You've been in Peru?
I'm not talking about, what I had for breakfast, but something close to it. We have good stuff in our house. You have to come over for smoothie time at the Eid.
You just say chuchuwasi.
Yeah, chuchuwasi.
You know?
For sure. You got to know the Amazonian
I lived in the jungle for 1 year.
chuchuwasi. It's not good with that blend. I wouldn't put it with like a blueberry thing. I'm saying, but I'm just saying. I was listing off. I was listing off like some of the,
Natural thing.
Yeah, natural things. And chuchuwasi would generally be its own thing. Nobody should ever need chuchuwasi because it's for kidney stones. Should be mamish. We should have healthy people in the world. We shouldn't need it. Anyways, back to us. So you have one of these geschmacka smoothies. Okay? You finish the smoothie. Sadly, the guy spaced out. Didn't make an after bracha. Still sitting there. 10 minutes go by. 20 minutes go by. Can you make an after bracha?
Yeah.
20 minutes now.
So it all depends on the zman, equal the amount of time that it would take for something like that to digest. For liquids, it could be rather fast. It could be rather fast. For a smoothie, it's a bit longer. Let me give it time for sure it's done. He sat there for an hour and let's say even a quarter, 75 minutes. He's hungry, it's past. And then his buddy says, did you make an after bracha? So the after bracha is gone. and the before bracha is also gone. If you want to have more smoothie, new before bracha. Because enough time went by even for the before bracha. The after bracha is how much time it digested. That's after bracha, digestion. The before bracha is did enough time elapse? This is like gone. My mind has left. So there's different ways for your mind to leave the eating. One way, or drinking, is that you leave the location you're in. You guys heard of the doors of perception? When you go through a door, a gateway, there's a change. In Jewish law, there's a major change in consciousness. I'm not quoting Jim Morrison as a Torah source. I'm just saying that there's an idea that when the person goes through a doorway and he leaves, especially leaving a domain, you go into a new universe. You think it's like, oh, I just walked outside. No, when you walk outside, it's like, if you were living with halachic glasses on, Soloveitchik has a book, The Halachic Man. Very, very powerful stuff. Is that the Jew lives in a universe of halacha. So, when you ask your friend, like, bro, you're going to meet me outside? He's like, what do you mean, like, in another domain? It's like, what do you mean? Like, you mean like not in a Reshus HaYachid? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure, like, we're leaving Reshus HaYachid. Rabbi said, we're in a Reshus HaYachid right now, a private domain. You want to leave a private domain to go outside? Okay, just you got to know what we're getting involved in. You got to know it's different out there. In halacha, because when you leave, there's a difference. Something has shifted. That's what I'm saying. So sometimes that's heightened for people. It's like they walk outside and it's like, what do you think Dorothy was doing when she opened the door? Dark Side of Oz, and she just sees like colors. Like, what? She left the Reshus HaYachid to Reshus HaRabban, or a Carmelis. Right? Dorothy opened Wizard of Oz. She opens up the door and it's like
Alice in Wonderland.
That's what I'm saying. Is that so in halacha, we're not using these as marmakoimis, you understand? But I'm just trying to like a little bit give context to people that haven't learned Hilchos Brachos yet and Hilchos, Arba Reshuyos, some of the kind of shift in consciousness that happens. Specifically applying to Hesach Hadas is that your mind gets broken from it. But there's certain foods that even though you change domains, your mind is still on it. Like bread. Bread, you could leave, and the fact that you ate bread or even mezainis, it like locks you into it because it's solid. Because in the original spot, you sat down to like eat bread. So the fact that you sat down to eat bread like keeps your consciousness on it. So even though you might have gone outside, let's say you're eating a shawarma, okay? And then somebody's locked out of the dorms. So you're like, oh, I'm just going to go downstairs, get this guy. So you go all the way out, you get the guy, you bring him from the Rova, and you bring him back in. Oh no, you got to make a new amotzi. No, you don't. You're still in it, especially if somebody else is still there in the original meal. You're still in that meal. But what if you are having a smoothie, and then your buddy says, oh, help me bring my bags from Shar Yafo. I'm like, sure, bro, I got your back. You just came in, Ben Gurion, like red eye, I got you. Eisha Torah. It's nice to see there's a lot more suitcases around here. Everyone's coming home. Baruch Hashem. So you go up to get the guy's suitcase, you come back, you make a new bracha on your smoothie? Yes. We should be Zerg the Mashiach. Amen. Kol Tuv. Hazak Baruch. So if I go now and have this, what if I go downstairs to the base medrash and drink this? New bracha? Same domain. Same domain.
Thank you.